Alright, this week we're taking a look at the Onewheel Pint. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. The Onewheel Pint is completely and totally worth it. Now, you may look at it and think it's kind of expensive. When you consider the amount of engineering, development, design, and execution that went into the Onewheel Pint, and how you actually strap your body to it and hit speeds of between 16 to 19 miles an hour, you want a board that is responsive, that you can know and trust both its abilities and its limits. In these regards, the Pint knocks it out of the park, and that is worth every penny. Let's talk a little bit about when you first get the Pint. If you're somebody who struggles with balance, the Pint probably isn't for you. The website advertises a top speed of 16 miles an hour and about 6 to 8 miles worth of distance. Now, in my personal experience, I've hit 19 miles an hour and I have gone 12, 14 miles on the Pint. Part of that is my weight, part of it is how aggressive or not I'm riding. Generally speaking, the listed specs on the website, they are about right. When you first get the Pint, it's going to take a couple days to get a hang of balancing on it, doing simple motions, and understanding what it's doing in response to the input that you're giving it. But if you give it time and you stay on it and you continue to practice it, it really does not take that long to get the hang of it. I will say though that it's deceptively simple and you could hurt yourself. You have to be careful as you get into something that you've not done before that's physical like this. When you hit speeds of 16 to 18 miles an hour and you're on concrete and you're over 40 years old, things could happen and you could get hurt. So you really do have to be careful and pay attention to the board, know your limits. Now, one piece of feedback that the board will give you is something called pushback. Pushback is basically the board telling you that it is maxed out in the amount of power that it can deliver to going forward and to balancing you. The board only has so much power reserve. Part of it is reserved for balancing you on the board, and the other part is in charge of you going forward or backwards. But when it reaches its power limits, let's say you've reached a speed limit, you really are about to overpower the DC motor in it. So what the board will do is the board will let you know that you're approaching that edge, and it will push back, meaning the nose will rise and you will feel physically an edge that you need to back away from, or else you could find yourself on the ground quickly. Today I'm taking a little evening ride around the town, and I thought I'd bring you along and we can talk about the Pint and my impression of it. So I'm getting close to 300 miles that I've logged on this thing so far, and I absolutely love it. I ride it every day. I try and make sure I log between 3 and 10 miles a day, and I just love it. I'm fortunate to have a well-paved driveway with a lot of space where I can spend time practicing, where I'm on the home turf and can really just focus on getting used to the board. I feel very comfortable with it, but I also know that I'm still a relatively new rider, so I take precautions. You'll notice I'm wearing a helmet. We respect the pushback. You don't want to go over the edge and nosedive. I've enjoyed getting to know the Pint. I've enjoyed being part of the Onewheel community. I've enjoyed competing with other one-wheelers all around the world. Currently, I'm in competition for a day streak, so I make sure every day that I log between 3 to 10 miles or more, and you can unlock little badges. There are little encouragements built into the app to try and get you to continue to be active with the pint. Some things that I've done to my pint: I don't have a fender. I like to be able to see the wheel, but what that means is when it's raining or it's really damp or wet outside, I tend not to ride because it'd just be a mess. I used a woodgrain vinyl wrap on the fender delete. Just came out with a couple screws and I wrapped it in vinyl, just personalize it, and I think it looks great. The other thing that I did was I bought a Kush Nug Hi, which is a replacement rear foot pad. Now, replacement foot pads are a couple companies that make them. I'm really happy with this one. It's very responsive. It really does help foot fatigue. When you first get your board, you'll notice that there is a thing called foot fatigue, and it's just your body getting used to being in a different position, and the kind of fatigue that you get in your feet from balancing on the one wheel is similar to if you did if you just sat there and did a plank. So doing a plank, you are holding your body and you're not really flexing, you're just statically holding yourself up. And when you're riding the pint and you're balancing with your feet actually are doing a lot of similar kind of holds, and it can be fatiguing. And what will happen is the more that you ride, the less fatigue you'll get from riding. So it really does get better, although after 300 miles I can still feel it. Maybe about after 2 or 3 miles I'll start to feel it a little bit. One thing that helps is if you carve while you ride, instead of just riding in a straight line, if you carve, that'll relieve some of the fatigue. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. I started in 2021, decided to start challenging myself to upload a video every week, and I don't know week to week what I'm going to be talking about next week, but it's a good exercise, and I appreciate the opportunity to try and be creative, and I'm grateful for you guys bearing with me and being patient and watching this stuff. So plan on keeping it up, and I'm excited to do it. Alright, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel. If you made it this far, thank you. Anyway, so, get one. If you're at all inclined to board sports, if you're at all, if you really just love that feeling of floating, the Pint is totally worth it. It's well developed, well designed, well executed. Stay tuned, I have a video that I'll post every week. Appreciate you hanging in there, and just thanks for watching.